Here we go again. It's been an unprecedented year for severe weather in the Pikes Peak region. Today, just adding to the insurance bills with another round of severe weather. Some hailstones in Security Widefield as large as grapefruits.
And panic at the zoo. The storm hits hard at Cheyenne Mountain. Hailstones sending 5 people to the hospital. Nearly a dozen more treated on scene. Buses evacuating zoogoers after their cars were destroyed in the parking lot.
You're watching KRDO News Channel 13, where the news comes first. Your news starts right now.
I'll start watching it, all hoping that our cars were okay, and then this is what I have.
One zoo visitor, a pretty good sport after today's shelling at Cheyenne Mountain, but for some caught outside, it was no laughing matter. Good evening, I'm Bart Bedsole.
And I'm Dana Clemens in for Heather Skold. Thanks for making us your choice for news at 10. We begin with a full slate of team coverage of yet another devastating summer storm ripping through the Pikes Peak region.
And on a day like today, that team coverage includes you. We start with some of the most amazing images of the day taken by our viewers.
Even before Brittany Knight got to the window, she already knew what to expect. Hail, big hail.
Aw, man.
Big enough to put holes in her back window. The second time it's happened to her this summer.
Check out the pool. Oh my God.
It was deja vu in Security Widefield, both during the storm and afterward, smashing siding and shattering home windows in Fountain. On Cheyenne Mountain, the water climbed up to car doors. Flooding also left fire trucks having to navigate around impassable streets that stalled out these cars and more. This time-lapse video from Broadmoor Bluffs shows the arrival of hail, followed by the heavy rain that washed a lot of it away, but not all.
This is what I have.
The damage afterward, dramatic but familiar. Fort Carson got some of the worst of it. Hail and heavy rain forcing customers of the exchange to stay indoors. Others weren't so lucky. Katika Allison was hit in the head by a hailstone, then the lower back, trying to get to her crippled car. And this is what happened to Elizabeth Rios' little sister when she stepped outside to try and grab a stone off the ground before the storm had passed.
And those storms stretched well into this evening. Chief Meteorologist Stacey Garvilla joining us now to pinpoint where those storms are right at this moment. Stacey.
Dana, thank you. Here's a live look right now at our radar, and we continue to find quite a bit of storm activity, especially across the southeastern plains. We still have one severe thunderstorm warning, which is actually located in Elbert County right now. That storm continues to be severe for some large hail, and we're also watching out for some of that to skim far northeastern El Paso County. We could see nickel-sized hail in northeastern El Paso County with the storm located just northeast of Rama right now. So still a strong storm tracking southeast at 25 miles per hour. That's probably the strongest one in our area. But another factor we are keeping a close eye on is flash flooding. You can see a couple of storms north of Pueblo, near Pueblo West, but it's the Junkins burn scar where we currently have a pretty strong storm there. Heavy rain, also lots of lightning, keeping a close eye on that. Still plenty of storms across the southeastern plains. These continue tracking south and east. Nothing severe, but a pretty strong storm developing just to the north of Branson. Our severe thunderstorm watch expired right at 10 o'clock, but we still have that ongoing flash flood watch. Not to say that we couldn't still see a strong to severe storm, but the flash flood threat will be the biggest threat until about midnight tonight. We are tracking more storms tomorrow. I'll tell you about those coming up in just a few minutes. Bart and Dana.
Stacey, thanks. Probably the biggest headline of the day. 5 people in the hospital tonight after baseball-sized hail pelted the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. That was the scene from the covered viewing area at the Mexican gray wolf exhibit. Tony Meyer shot this video on his cell phone right as the hail began to fall around him around 3 o'clock. He's in one of the safer places to be. However, 14 people caught in the open were injured. 9 were treated and released. 5 taken to the hospital. In all, 3,400 zoo visitors were not expecting this is how their trip would turn out. Because of the damage to their cars, they had to be bussed over to Cheyenne Mountain High School for pickup, and that's where we find News Channel 13's Chase Golightly tonight. He has followed this story since the first bus arrived there. Chase?
Bart, Dana, multiple people were taken to the hospital and some zoo workers were injured trying to get others into cover. There was so much car damage that they actually loaded up visitors onto buses and brought them here to Cheyenne Mountain High School.
This is what people at Cheyenne Mountain Zoo witnessed. Hail up to the size of baseballs pelting down on them as they hid under cover. Others caught in the storm.
From a fire department perspective, we had 5 patients that were transported by ambulance, and we had another 11 that were treated and released.
Skylights and windows broken. Luckily, no children attending the zoo's camp were hurt, but the officials did say 2 of their animals were killed.
Unfortunately, 2 individual animals passed away, 1 vulture and 1 duck.
People not allowed to go back to their cars, the zoo loading them up into several buses and taking them to Cheyenne Mountain High School. No one imagining it would end up like this.
We saw the storm rolling in and we're like, okay, it might be a little bit of rain. But then the wind really started to pick up and we realized, okay, this was pretty bad.
So we heard like a big boom and then everything just went downhill from there.
One woman we spoke to says her daughter was injured by the hail, trying to get people into cover.
The hail was so hard. My daughter got taken to the hospital. So we're trying to get to her.
Some people getting off the bus being treated for injuries at the high school. Many happy to be out of the mayhem, but now have to deal with the damage.
Certainly a harrowing experience for many of those visitors. The attention is now switching to those hundreds of disabled cars in the parking lot. KRDO News Channel 13 Stephanie Sierra is live there now to bring us the latest on the devastation.
Well, Chase, we now know more than 400 cars in this lot are completely destroyed. I want to walk and show you the damage. This car here is what nearly all of the cars in this parking lot look like. Glass shattered everywhere. And I've counted a few dozen cars that have been towed away, but many weren't as lucky and are now stuck here trying to find a safe place to stay. It started out as a long-awaited vacation that quickly turned into a nightmare for the Vance family.
I've never seen anything like it before.
Their car, one of more than 400, completely destroyed in the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo parking lot.
We were visiting one of the exhibits and Alexa actually started looking outside and said there's these big things coming down.
They're talking about hail, not pea-sized hail, baseball-sized hail that pounded the Broadmoor area for 20 minutes straight. This video captured while the Vances were inside the bear exhibit. Large hail just pummeling into the water.
And I started crying after a while.
Alexa wasn't alone. Hundreds of other families now stranded.
I don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing, how I'm getting there.
Robin Lane says she plans on sleeping inside her wrecked car.
It's hard when you're on your own and you're trying to make things better.
The damage so severe everywhere you look, all you can see is broken plastic, shattered glass, and smashed windshields.
Hailstorm like I've never seen before.
Jenny Cook, the marketing director with Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, says they had to evacuate 8 busloads of people.
We had city buses come up and help evacuate those folks down to Cheyenne Mountain High School.
In the meantime, those that didn't get a ride called for a tow, because a handful of these cars you see in this lot are owned by families out of state.
We're a long ways from home.
Like the Vances, who traveled all the way from Iowa, that are now left stuck finding a safe way home. Cheyenne Mountain Zoo Road is now reopened, so the cars you see left in this lot will be able to be towed away. It's just unclear how long that process will take. But in the meantime, police will be here tonight and into the early morning hours patrolling this area to prevent any theft. We're live tonight at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. Stephanie Sierra, KRDO News Channel 13.
Stephanie, thank you. And for the second time this summer, the Security, Widefield, and Fountain areas were hit with another round of severe hail damage. It's just a little over a month since the last storm that left millions in damages. Now, some people who live there aren't sure how they'll recover a second time. KRDO News Channel 13's Crystal Story has this report.
For the second time, hail tore through Security, Widefield, and Fountain, leaving behind tens of thousands of dollars in damages.
There's some fear there when these storms come on now, because you don't know what's going to happen.
For people like Eric, he can't believe it happened again.
Just thought it was going to be a rematch of last time.
This is what his cars look like after the last storm, and this time isn't so different. This is his family's 4th car that's seen damage like this, and he's far from the only one.
I don't know what we can do about it, but yeah, it's not fun having your car nailed by hail multiple times.
Paul Henry is on his second vehicle, and Brett was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
To the highway right there coming out of Fountain, the hail hit, and it just got bigger and harder and lasted about 5 minutes.
He had to pull over and watch while the windshield shattered in front of him.
We tried our best to just kind of block our faces and wait it out.
They were like so many others, forced to pull over.
I couldn't see or do anything, and I was just so lucky and fortunate.
For so many in the area,
for 30 years, and this has never been like this.
The repair process is back at square one. In Fountain, Crystal Story, KRDO News Channel 13.
And to give you an idea, the last hailstorm caused an estimated $200 million in damages. There's no telling how much this most recent storm will add. We received hundreds of photos today of the large hailstones.
It plowed through the Pikes Peak region. Here is Storm Tracker 13's Abby Oconee with a closer look. Abby?
Thanks to everyone for sharing your images. Hopefully you're able to stay as safe as possible. Here's some of the best images you captured. Thanks so much for sending in your viewer photos and videos. This is a slideshow of some of the hailstones that we got into our newsroom sent in to us. Thanks so much for taking this shot of the baseball-sized hail, tennis ball size in some spots. Even quarter-sized hail caused some issues to property and cars. Fountain not being able to catch a break with several rounds of severe thunderstorm cells moving through the area today. Fort Carson even getting hailstones large enough to essentially cover the palm of this hand. It looked like a winter wonderland in southern Colorado, especially on the south side of Colorado Springs this afternoon. Here's another shot of that large hail. It really helped us out when you brought out a ruler to help measure the diameter of that hail so we could more accurately assess the situation. This particular hailstone, 2.5 inches in diameter. This person carrying multiple heavy hailstones in the palm of their hands. Some hands probably getting cold, holding on to these large hailstones. Thanks to Debbie for sending us this shot. This last photo sums it up for us. Seriously, why do we have to see such large hailstones pummeling through an area that has already been hard hit so far this season? From the Storm Tracker 13 Weather Center, our hearts go out to everyone who has been dealing with the aftermath of these very powerful severe thunderstorms. We'll continue to track that. The biggest hail report was from Security just before 3 p.m. of hail 4 inches in diameter. That ties for the second largest hailstone in El Paso County on record. Abby Oconee, KRDO News Channel 13.
A year of wild weather for sure. Abby, thanks. We have a number of other stories making headlines today, including school zone safety. Summer is over for more and more students, and as they return to school, an important safety reminder as we transition back.
But first, prices plummeting. It's a trend we've been seeing in cannabis prices. Coming up, why that isn't a good thing for every segment of the industry.
We continue tracking the condition of Colorado Springs police officer Jem Duzel. He was gravely wounded in the line of duty last week when a suspect shot him in the head. The latest information into our newsroom is that Duzel is still in critical but stable condition. His family remains at his side. We also learned Saturday from Mayor John Suthers that doctors removed a portion of his skull to relieve pressure on his brain. Suthers revealed that while speaking on a local radio show. And on Friday night, hundreds of people gathered for a candlelight vigil to support Duzel in a park near the hospital and near the crime scene. The shooting remains under investigation by the El Paso County Sheriff's Office.
A new report says marijuana prices have dropped by 50% since 2015. Elected officials in Pueblo have taken notice. And while lower prices have been great for those who partake, not everyone in the industry is feeling the love. KRDO News Channel 13's Dan Beatty has more.
They were paying on average $300 an ounce. I'm selling $60 ounces all day long.
Jim Parco is the owner of Mesa Organics in Pueblo County. Over the past few years, as the amount of farmers and shops increased, competition would force prices to drop.
We have, I'm going to guess, 25 to 30 stores here in Pueblo County in a city of 100,000. I mean, we have way too many stores.
And the county has taken notice. Last week, commissioners voted to extend the moratorium on any new dispensary licenses so that they can prevent unnecessary competition.
We don't want to have too much product into the marketplace.
For Pueblo County Commissioner Sal Pace, the moratorium, which will last until 2020, is meant to protect the marijuana marketplace, not to fix prices.
We recognize that there's been a precipitous price drop. We recognize that there are a lot of folks cultivating, and it's impacting the marketplace.
Parco says moratoriums can be tricky, but he is supportive of this one.
We have seen prices fall from $2,400 to $500 on the commercial wholesale market right now, but in doing so, that's with the moratorium. Had they not put it and we had even more people coming into the market, at some point, flower would sell so inexpensively that nobody could make any money.
And Parco says he's making money despite the price drops. The lower prices draw in more customers. In Pueblo County, Dan Beatty, KRDO, News Channel 13.
The cash registers are still ringing, so who's feeling the pinch? Well, it's marijuana growers. The price drop is making it hard to break even. Cultivators told us today they are sometimes selling their crop for less than half of the original asking price.
We are joined now by Storm Tracker 13 Chief Meteorologist Stacy Garvello. Before we get to the weather, quick clarification. Earlier we talked about the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo and the road to the zoo being open. However, the zoo itself will be closed tomorrow. A lot of cleaning up still to do there. Hopefully they get the gates back open for Wednesday, but tomorrow looking like it could be stormy as well.
We have storms in the forecast again tomorrow and even Wednesday as well. And some of the storms over the next couple of days could still be strong to severe. Look at today's aftermath. These are storm reports mainly in the form of hail dotting the Front Range. You can see a lot of the hail reports came from El Paso County from one single storm. It started in Teller County, then came right through Colorado Springs, and then eventually Security, Whitefield, also the Fountain area once again. So not all of the hail reports showing up here, but these are just the ones that were sent in to the National Weather Service. Satellite and radar over the last 6 hours across parts of the Pikes Peak region showing storm after storm kept filtering through, and where you saw some of the blues, that's indicating where some of that large hail came through. So Fountain saw that twice today. That doesn't even include the other times earlier this year. Here's a current look at radar. So we have storms redeveloping out there this evening. A lot of these mainly showers, but some lightning can't be ruled out. Our severe threat is deeply diminishing now, but be aware if you do hear some rain, we're likely going to see a little bit more come through this evening. There is a pretty good shower right now coming through the Rock Rimmon area, stretching towards Briargate. These basically just popped up and are moving off to the east and southeast. There's a couple more off to the north. There's even a shower now just south of Woodland Park. So some of these will be filtering through the Pikes Peak region this evening. Between Pueblo West and Pueblo, a shower there as well. I'm not seeing a lot of lightning come up, but I wouldn't rule that out. We are still tracking a severe thunderstorm warning that continues for a portion of Elbert County. That's skimming far northeastern El Paso County. Could see some nickel-sized hail there. This warning, though, goes for golf ball-sized hail. The storm is tracking south and east at about 25 miles per hour. Further south, again, we're keeping a close eye on this storm here that's over the Junkins burn scar. There's been a flood advisory issued, so that means some rises on the creeks and streams. At this point, no flash flooding, but that storm not moving very quickly. And the southeastern plains still just seeing tons of showers and storm activity out there right now. Nothing severe, thankfully. Some much needed rain is actually coming down. Skycast showing that we'll still have some storms in the area past midnight, but by early tomorrow morning, mainly just a few lingering showers. Tomorrow, we have storms in the forecast yet again. Expect some of those once again in the same areas by the afternoon and evening. There will still be a risk for some of those strong to severe storms tomorrow. In fact, we have a slight risk once again that includes places like Walsenburg and Trinidad. The green, of course, that marginal risk. Here's a look at current temperatures. We're in the 50s, 60s, still some 70s out there. Expect temperatures to drop to the 50s and 60s this evening, and those high temperatures tomorrow in the 70s and 80s. Now we do have our 7-day forecast showing, well, 70s in Woodland Park, still a couple of storms in Canyon City, also dealing with 80s, couple of storm chances the next couple of days. Tomorrow will be a weather alert day. Keep that in mind. Near 90 later in the week in Pueblo, and in Colorado Springs, lots of 80s in the forecast ahead. Watch out for those storms tomorrow. Bart and Dana.
Stacey, thanks. Still to come, student safety is a big concern, especially when walking to class.
Coming up, what you need to know as kids prepare to hit the streets.
To school safety now. Over the summer, drivers can tend to forget the slower speed limits in places or like school zones.
Well, now officials are reminding us to obey that 20 miles per hour limit. At Mountain Vista School in Harrison District 2 this morning, officials held a public awareness event. They asked drivers to slow down. don't drive distracted and know where the school zones are.
Pedestrians also have a responsibility to be alert, obey the crossing guards, and watch for drivers who may break the rules.
It's little things like changing the radio station, reaching for a cup of coffee, or talking to someone in the back seat. All it takes is a second of not being aware of what's going on to put yourself in a dangerous situation.
Colorado Springs has had an unusually high number of pedestrians killed in crashes just this year. Officials want to ensure that does not happen in school zones.
And Rob joins us now. Rob, let's talk Rockies,
Let's
shall we?
talk the Rockies. They're relevant.
Coming home finally, right?
Yeah, they needed to come home. Their road trip was a little rough. Coming up in sports, well, the Rockies had the Colorado-born kid Kyle Freeland on the hill tonight against the Pirates. We'll show you how they did. Plus, CSU Pueblo back at it today. We'll hear from the Pack ahead. Good evening, everybody. Rockies pitcher Kyle Freeland had mind control in the Pittsburgh Pirate lineup tonight. The guy's a wizard when he pitches at Coors Field. It's like wizardry, witchcraft. In the third, he gets a little help here from Trevor Story. Goes on the spin cycle, makes the difficult look easy. Freeland, 7 innings of shutout baseball tonight, and the Rocks, they scratch out 2 runs as they win their second in a row. Broncos punter Marquette King is not your run-of-the-mill punter, a guy who sits back in the shadows. He's active on social media, and yesterday he confronted a Denver sports radio host after practice. Now, last Friday, King was interviewed on 104.3 The Fan on a show hosted by former Broncos player Brandon Stokely. After a minute and a half of short answers by King, who was asked why he was being so short with his answers, he said he didn't like talking about football. Well, Darren McKee, who also works for The Fan, tweeted out that King was disrespectful and rude. Fast forward to yesterday. After practice, King went up to McKee and asked him, "Do we have a problem?" And then he kept repeating, "Keep my name out of your mouth." A Broncos PR person stepped in and escorted King away. The sounds of football could be heard at the Rose Stadium on the campus of CSU Pueblo today. As the Wolfpack went through their first practice of the season, the players were full of enthusiasm, but there was nobody more excited for the start of the season than head coach John Riston.
It's a lot better than sitting in my office. There's not too many utopias, but right here on the practice field is what I love to do, love to be a part of. I've been away from it since middle of April. You can't meet with them during summertime, so I'm glad to be back around these guys.
It's probably really the only time you're ever in charge. Am I right?
You got that right. It's spoken from experience right there.
Now, Bernard McDonald wasn't sure if he was ever going to put on a CSU Pueblo uniform again. A shoulder injury in the season opener last year made him miss most of the season. This is McDonald's final year with the Thunderwolves, and he told me today that he's going to appreciate every moment.
It feels good. I'll tell you that. You see the smile and all of that. I've been waiting for too long, you know. There's at one point I thought I'd never get back out here. So this time with these guys, you know, that's the main thing, you know. These good times, I missed a lot of good times last season, so I want to be a part of those this time.
All right, what would you do with a plate of poutine? Well, Mariners fan trying to catch a baseball with it. Didn't go too well. Tried making a diving catch with the poutine, and he ends up spilling it all over the field. An A for effort, did not execute the catch. That is nutty, to say the least. And we will be right back.
Welcome back. Here's a live look at radar right now. You can see plenty of showers and storms still popping up across the area as I put this in motion. Most of these are tracking south and east, and some of these will produce some lightning into the overnight.
We'll do it again tomorrow, Stacey.
Yes.
Thanks. That's going to do it for us tonight at 10 o'clock.
But our news continues in the morning with Katie, John, Shannon, and Hannah. They'll be here starting at 4:30. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for watching News Channel 13, voted best in the West by the Associated Press.